Well, you had a deal with Atlantic at some point, and you put out some records and so forth.
One record.
One record?
I believe one, yeah.
Okay. Take K was on it, right?
Take K and Block Boy, yeah.
Black Boy JB. And then you lost your record deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had a 1-year deal, and we did the 1 year. And then we decided not to go forward from there.
Okay. Was it because of all the allegations that started to resurface?
So first off, we had a 1-year deal, and we did the 1 year, and then we sort of hit the end of the 1 year. And then we had a conversation, and they basically explained, like, you know, we're like a big fucking corporate company, and we have a lot of bullshit that we got to deal with, people we got to answer to, and they're like, you know, you ended up being a bit more controversial than we maybe had planned on, and it's kind of stopped us from getting a lot of stuff done. But the thing about it too is that I really didn't want to be in that deal at all after the first year, because, you know, and even like leading up to that, it was just like, it was sort of draining me. It was the first time in my life that I really felt like I was working, you know, like really just working, like going in and doing a job. I'm doing these meetings. I don't want to be in the meetings, but I'm doing this meeting, talking about this record, talking about this artist I was trying to sign, etc. And, you know, it's just, I started to realize that I signed a deal that probably wasn't the best situation for me, and where I was basically just, I felt like I was working for the first time in my life. Because normally when I'm doing No Jumper stuff and I'm doing a meeting or I'm doing an interview, it's like, I feel like everything I'm doing there impacts what I'm working on. And with the No Jumper Records thing, it just felt like this is kind of just a silly waste of time thing that I'm doing. And they were trying to get me to sign artists that I didn't fuck with at all, that I'm like, you know, in retrospect, I'm just like, holy fuck, like I came so close to being associated with signing this artist through Atlantic. And it wasn't that I wanted to sign him, is that basically they signed me and then they were gonna use the No Jumper name to like create this brand, you know? At the same time, they're not married to it like the way I am. So they can take that risk of signing a trash artist. For me, that's gonna haunt me forever. So, I mean, I just really wasn't into it. And when they ended it, or when they said they wanted to end it, I was just like, man, that sounds fucking great for me. Because, I mean, I've had a whole bunch of different offers since then, and they're all pretty similar. And now I know what I was getting into, and I'm just like, wow, like, I'm glad I got that one paycheck, because realistically, I didn't have to do much for that one paycheck. But I don't think I would ever take that paycheck again.
Okay. What were the allegations that were the most kind of damaging during that time?
I mean, the allegations, the crazy shit about it was just that it was a girl from 10, 12 years ago that I dated who just decided that I raped her, like, all these years later. And it was crazy, too, because at first she was trying to tell this reporter that she was underage when I slept with her. And then the reporter starts looking into it, and he figures out, like, oh, no, like, you were of age. Like, she was of age when I met her. It's like, it would have been impossible. But she told this reporter that I had a sexual relationship with her when she was underage. And then he starts digging into it, figures out she was not, in fact, underage. And, I mean, that's just an example of, like, how ridiculous the storyline was. But, I mean, again, she was anonymous. She never had to supply any sort of, like, you know, evidence at all. There's no corroboration. There's no friend that said that she talked to him about it at the time. It was just nothing. And I mean, actually about that specific thing and the other girl from back around that same time period who came out anonymously and said shit about me, like, Atlantic did a whole, they hired investigators to investigate all of that shit. I sat through like many, many hours of investigation, and the investigators told them that they didn't have anything solid to go on.
Yeah, I really feel lucky that when social media originally started with MySpace, I was already DJ Vlad. So I was already keenly aware that whatever I put out into the social media world was going to get recorded, screenshotted, used against me in the future. So I was always very conscious of all the things I put out there.
Right.
I never had the anonymous social media personality where I could, you know, anything that just fluttered into my head, I would just spurt it out there and just forget about it a year later.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just feel a little bit lucky, because if I was completely anonymous, if I thought, you know, my 13 followers don't care about whatever I say, there would probably be some dumb shit that I've said over the years.
Right.
At the time, you know, you were not Adam22 yet. You did not have a podcast. You were just living you know, more of a private life. And it kind of sucks. I don't know what happened. I'm not trying to downplay the situation with these women, but it sucks in 2019 going into 2020 that you can make decade-old allegations and it sticks and it affects you, and there's no proof, and the person's anonymous, and there's no police report, and there's no evidence, there's no photograph, there's no video. It's just simply an allegation, and you are convicted at that point to a certain degree.
Yeah. By the people who want to convict you, because it's like, in that situation, it's like given that there's no proof or no evidence, no anything, it's like you could just basically, it's a litmus test for how people feel about you. If somebody's already kind of in a position where they tend to not like you, or they didn't think you seemed that great, they're going to hear this accusation and be like, oh, fuck it, he's guilty.
Well,
if somebody likes you, they're going to hear about it and be like, nah, there's no proof, you know?